It's winter here and I'm working on the heating system for the van. A friend of mine up in Vermont asked me to show her how I put my heating system together so she can do the same thing on her van. And I thought I'd put together a quick video and show you guys how that's done. This is the heater we're using in our van, called the Little Buddy by Mr. Heater. It's designed to sit on top of a 1 pound propane canister, and it's basically the smallest portable propane heater that I could find. I love this heater. It puts out exactly the right amount of heat for my van. The problem is I hate these 1 pound propane canisters. It's a lot of waste, they're hard to recycle, and they're expensive. So what I'm gonna do is rig up a way to hook up this heater to a full-size 20 pound propane tank. For this build, we're gonna need a couple pieces of pine 1x2. If you buy one 6-foot piece, that's plenty. We're gonna need the simple tools we need to measure and cut wood. We're gonna need some kind of wrench. For parts, we need this hose. One end is designed to attach to a full-size propane tank. The other looks like the top of a 1 pound propane cylinder. I found this at my local home center for 20 bucks. And the key to making this work are these 3 fittings. So this is a thing, one end looks just like the top of the 1 pound propane cylinder. And the other end is a 1/4 inch by 20 threads per inch nipple. This adapter looks like the underside of the heater itself, actually. So that, as compared to that, right, are the same. And on the backside, it also has that 1/4 inch by 20 threads per inch nipple. And then I have this piece, which is just a 90-degree brass elbow that's the same 1/4 inch to 20 threads per inch on both sides. So these parts, these 2 fittings, were really easy to find online. They're made by the same company, Mr. Heater, that makes the heater itself. However, this piece was actually really difficult to find. They didn't have it at my local home center or at my local hardware store. I had to order it online and it got shipped from Asia. It took like a month to get here. It was a $2 part, but it was really hard to find. So if you want to do this, you're going to want to order this quickly because it takes a while to get. First thing we're going to do is build a wooden frame, and it's really simple. I should have mentioned you also need some kind of fastener. I'm going to use a screw gun and these Torx head self-tapping 1 1/4 inch number 8 screws that I found at the home center. I really like these. They're very secure, they're lightweight, and they're not that visible. But you could use finish nails and a hammer, that'd be fine. What I've done is cut 2 pieces at 13 inches, 1 piece at 3 inches, and 2 pieces at 4.5 inches. And what I'm going to do is just screw this together, and then you'll see how it's supposed to look. And bingo! Through the magic of editing, it's done. Here's the 2 13-inch pieces, here's the 3-inch piece, and here are the 2 4.5-inch pieces. The dimension from here to here isn't really critical. I put mine about 4.5 inches. And the dimension, the length of this isn't really critical either. And the way this works is you just set that on the ground, and then the heater sits on top of it, like that. That's all there is to it. Now the reason we need this little sled is so that the heater is up off the ground and the gas can get in, but also because if you just sit this thing flat on the ground, it's really kind of top heavy, and it quite conveniently has a little switch in it that when it tips it shuts off so it can't burn your house down. So we needed this little sled. I like this design because there's no complicated cuts or anything. It's just straight pieces, a few screws, and you're good to go. And the next step is to hook up the gas. The only slightly complicated part here is assembling these fittings. Because there's going to be gas flowing through them, you can't just screw them together, you need to seal the threads somehow. And we're going to do that using this Teflon tape. If you're going to use the tape, you definitely want to buy the yellow stuff. They make a white Teflon tape that's used for water lines. That is not the right material. This stuff is thicker and it's designed for gas. All you do is wrap the tape around the threads, but it's important you go in the right direction. We're going to be tightening the pieces on in a clockwise direction. And so we want to wrap the tape in a clockwise direction as well, so that when we're tightening the piece, it's also tightening down the tape. And all you do is lay the tape over the threads and wrap like so. I usually try and do 2-ish full wraps, and then you can cut it or just pull it and then lay it down. like so. That way, when we take the next piece and thread it on, the action of tightening it is going to cause that tape to tighten up as well. Then we do the same thing with the other piece. There it is, all assembled. This is the piece that looks just like the bottom of the heater that's going to go into the tank adapter, and this is the piece that looks just like the bottom of the top of the tank, and that's going to go into the bottom of the heater. I should also say, since you're going to be using a gas heater in a confined space, it's never a bad idea to check for leaks. The way you do that is get this thing connected, turn the gas on, and then spray a solution of soapy water in around the seals that you made. If bubbles form in that soap solution, then you know that something is leaking out. Okay, so I've gotten that in and I adjusted it until it's tight, but it's facing the wrong direction, right? So that's what I meant about a little play. I'm now going to take that off of there and adjust it so it's pointing in the right way. The temptation might be to just torque it down in place right there, but I'm very likely to damage the threads on the heater if I do that. So I'm going to take it off and adjust it to the right orientation. First, actually, I'm going to make a little mark right here, so I know that this mark is the forward facing of this piece when it's tightened all the way in. So now what I'm going to do is, using the wrench, rotate this piece around so that it's facing where the red mark is. And it looks like we got it. All right, red mark lined up with the tip of this thing, which, if I've done this correctly, should mean that when this is tight, oh yeah, it stops facing forward. Awesome. And here's our completed apparatus. We got the fitting screwed in down there like that, attached to the hose. Hard to do with one hand while holding a video camera. Lay it down like so, and just hook this up to your propane tank. I'm going to bring this out to the van, I think, and show you how it looks like up and running in reality. And here she is, running in all her glory. Yeah. I love this little heater. I like it because it's still got the shut-off switch connected, so if I knock it over, it's going to turn off. See that? Shuts itself off automatically, which I really like. I also like the fact that it's not secured in any way, right? It's not screwed down, so that I can just unscrew it and put it back on the 1-pound tank. That is actually really useful for taking it someplace. Sometimes we'll go someplace in the van, but there's like a cabin or something we're staying in that needs to get warmed up, so I bring this in. And that's all there is to it. A few bucks of parts and maybe like an hour of work, and you're running propane off the big tank. I like it because it's a lot less expensive, it's way easier to refill, and here in the van I'm actually eventually going to pipe it in so there's one propane tank that runs both the heater and the stove, so that I only have one tank to change when I run out. I hope that helps. Good luck and happy vanning.